History is not random. It runs on decisions. Welcome to Historithm. America calls itself a nation of immigrants. It celebrates Ellis Island. It celebrates diversity. It celebrates the American dream. But here's something strange. Every immigrant group was once hated. The Irish were called criminals. The Chinese were banned by law. The Italians were labeled radicals. Mexicans were accused of stealing jobs. So here's the real question. Was America built by immigrants or built against them? Tonight, we let AI examine 2 centuries of fear, economics, politics, and survival. This is not a moral story. It is a system story. In the 1840s, millions of Irish fled famine. They arrived poor, Catholic, desperate. Protestant America did not welcome them. Newspapers described them as dirty, violent, uncivilized. There were signs that said, "No Irish need apply." Then came the Germans, then the Italians, then Eastern European Jews. Each group followed the same pattern. Arrive poor, face hatred, work the hardest jobs, slowly integrate. But something interesting happened. Over time, these groups became white, not biologically, socially. AI pattern detection shows immigration fear is rarely about race alone. It is about status. When newcomers compete for jobs, housing, or political power, the existing group feels threatened. Fear becomes identity. Identity becomes politics. And politics eventually becomes law. The Chinese came during the gold rush. They built railroads. They worked for lower wages. They were efficient, and they were hated. In 1882's, Congress passed the Chinese Exclusion Act. This was the first federal law that banned immigration based on race, not because of crime, not because of war, because of economic fear. When the economy slowed, politicians looked for blame. The Chinese were visible, different, organized. They became convenient. AI economic models show something simple. When growth slows, tolerance shrinks. Policy follows panic. But the algorithm didn't stop there. It expanded. In 1924, the fear shifted from Asia to Europe. The target became Italians, Jews, and Poles. Congress passed the Johnson-Reed Act, but they used a clever trick. They set immigration quotas based on the population data from 1890. Why 1890? Because that was before the massive wave of Southern and Eastern Europeans arrived. They deliberately rewound the clock. They used data to engineer the population. It was social engineering, disguised as statistics. The Chinese Exclusion Act lasted more than 60 years. The 1924 quotas lasted for 40 years. Fear had not just become law. It had become a system. But every system has a glitch. When the 1924 Act cut off labor from Europe and Asia, factories still needed workers. So America looked south. In the early 1900s, the southern border was not heavily enforced. Mexican workers crossed back and forth. Farmers needed labor. Railroads needed labor. Factories needed labor. During World War II, the U.S. created the Bracero program. Temporary Mexican workers were invited legally. But here is the contradiction. When the economy was strong, workers were welcomed. When unemployment rose, deportations followed. In 1954, Operation Wetback removed over 1 million people. Some were citizens, some were legal residents. Many were simply convenient targets. Some were deported without due process. Some never returned. AI conclusion. America did not reject immigrant labor. It rejected immigrant permanence. The system wanted hands, not roots. Temporary worker, yes. Permanent neighbor, debatable. In 1965's, everything changed. President Lyndon B. Johnson signed the Immigration and Nationality Act of 1965. It ended the old quota system that favored Europeans. Lawmakers said it would not dramatically change demographics. They were wrong. The new system prioritized family reunification and professional skills. Immigration from Asia increased. Immigration from Latin America increased. America began to look different. AI demographic modeling shows 1965 was not just reform. It quietly rewrote the future electorate. It was a structural reset. The modern multicultural United States begins here. Silicon Valley founders, medical professionals, engineers, many trace back to post-1965 immigration. But political tension also grew because demographic change creates identity anxiety. In the 21st century, immigration became central to national elections. Campaign speeches focused on borders, walls, caravans, crime. President Donald Trump made immigration a defining issue. Supporters said he defended sovereignty. Critics said he fueled division. AI political analysis suggests immigration debates are rarely about numbers. They are about identity. Who belongs? Who decides? Who benefits? Immigration is now a proxy war for cultural survival. In polarized systems, immigration becomes a symbolic battlefield. This is the fork in the American timeline. Imagine an alternate timeline. The quota system stays. European dominance continues. Asian immigration remains limited. Latin American migration remains restricted. Silicon Valley looks different. University campuses look different. Election maps look different. AI simulations suggest economic growth might slow without high-skill migration, but cultural cohesion might increase in the short term. Long term, diversity often correlates with innovation, but also with friction. History does not offer perfection, only trade-offs. Immigrants built railroads. They built factories. They built small businesses. They start a high percentage of tech companies. They pay taxes. They serve in the military. But rapid immigration can also create wage competition, housing pressure, cultural friction, political polarization. AI verdict. Immigration is not purely moral. It is structural. It is an economic engine and a psychological stress test. America was built by immigrants and shaped by fear of immigrants. The system keeps recalculating. The inputs change. The anxiety stays. The only question is, who becomes American next? History has patterns, and we just decoded it. This was Historithm. See you in the next pattern.